Resident Evil is always sort of going to stay in my mind as one of my favorite sort of horror games of all time. Really, because it was one of the first games that actually made me jump, made me scared.
I'd say when you leave the station for a minute, you go down to this little room outside, and there's a typewriter, a valve, and a couple bullets, and there's like a little window you look through that says the area is filled with zombies. It's too dangerous to go on. Like, and then you do that. So you would go to the door and open it, and like two zombies would walk out the door, and I've never seen them do that before. Like from first person view, to see that as a child would traumatize me.
The scene with the liquor, when you first see the liquor for the first time. Like I said, this is my first horror game, so I never seen a monster like that in a horror game. So seeing the liquor with
hard to kill.
Seeing the liquor with the brain coming out and the knives for hands and the tongue coming out, I was like, holy crap, when this cutscene is over, I'm going to pause it for a second, look at my items, make sure that I got my shotgun is filled up.
Mix every herb I have now.
One thing that's really sort of awesome about the suffering is that you are a bloody mess throughout the whole entire game. Usually when in horror games you have sort of these, you always have this character that's always shooting and using weapons like bats or guns or anything, but they never get bloodied or anything like that. You never see them ever have blood on them, but in the suffering you see blood everywhere.
Well, the thing is that the game starts off with this guy named Twerk, who's being sent to this prison on an island, which I sort of forget the name of it. They say that he killed his wife and son, like wife and children, very brutally, and he's been sent to jail for that, and supposedly he's got to get the death penalty out of it. In the cell there was a big earthquake, and all of a sudden these monsters started coming out of nowhere. Lights went out, and people left and right being massacred by these creepy monsters.
And some of these demons really look nightmarish. There's a particular one at the beginning of the game where he actually has knives for feet, and he had knives for hands. I mean, I said it before, Matt. I was like, Dead Space is bringing back horror games. Everything from Resident Evil to Fears, like all these games are going to the action portion of the genre. Yeah. Dead Space is bringing it back, man. It is bringing that fear back.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
And it was just, atmosphere was amazing, and it's really an amazing game where you can point at the ground and it'll tell you with a little light telling you where to go, and you'll still be freaking out regardless of, well, I know where to go, but I'm still freaking out because I have to go there.
A lot of as you're just traveling through the environments, there's a lot of little creaks and moans and taps, and you think that could be something that's maybe chasing you, but a lot of it is just the environment. It's an old rickety ship that's kind of breaking down.
Another One of the creepiest parts about Dead Space was not just the necromorphs, the monsters, but just to see your teammates lose it. Seeing your teammates lose it is perhaps one of the creepier parts of the game. I remember this particular part, one of my favorites, where you're heading through this corridor and all of a sudden you hear this bump. And I'm like, this is awesome. If you ask any real hardcore gamer, particularly a hardcore horror gamer, you know, what are the top 5 greatest horror games of all time? Majority of them would put Fatal Frame on that list.
Yeah, the way the combat of this all is as you go into first person mode with your camera, which you have to ghost in view. And the reason why it's called Fatal Frame is when the best way to actually kill the ghost quickly is you have to take their picture while they're attacking you. Because the minute as they started attacking you, if you pick up certain upgrades and all that, sometimes there's a light flashing, meaning that there's a chance of a critical hit. You hit it, you press the shutter once, it pretty much like kills, damages the ghost like pretty much like halfway. Like you actually see their HP bar like up in the corner of the screen. Did that, and it takes up like almost a quarter or sometimes half, depending how strong the ghost is. You go into this room and there's this bunch of like chests and boxes. One of them seems to open by itself, and you actually see this woman crawling out there with long hair, trying to crawl just like the girl in The Ring or in The Grudge.